Richard.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Alan.
Sorry?
Good, thanks, yeah. Um, Bit of fun this morning with the new version.
I've been out all morning. I've had to go to hospital this morning, so I've not done anything. I've just about tried to set them up. Can you just go through your settings today? Have you decided on anything yet on the time period yet?
Um, I'm still on 2 minutes, 2 minute time frame. It seems to be working okay.
On the three, I won one and lost one. I've just checked, so
Yeah,
it's on the three. But
if it works for you, I would stick with it.
I'm going to do, I think, next week just to see how that is.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just try and share my screen. I've just got my chart set up for the new the latest version. Let me see if I can share. And okay, so you should be looking at my four chart screen, and I'm just going to move that
Yeah, I
up.
can see that.
Okay, so there are some differences. So whilst we're waiting for other people to come in, I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to go on to your US. So I've still got this is the version that Oliver published this morning. So I'm on, let me just check. If I go to expert lists and go to properties, it should show me in the top left-hand corner, I've got SFF Crossfire brackets 2.05. That is the latest version that was published this morning. So I close that. What you'll notice is we've got some additional information here. Now, I haven't used this yet. I'm assuming that this is something that Oliver and I talked about, where after the crossover, you can sometimes take trades, and if you're still in between the two trend lines, I think this is all about measuring the distance. Remember, I used to talk about, is there enough room for profit? And I'm guessing this is what that's all about. I haven't looked at it closely yet. But if it is what I think it is, it'll be an extra advantage. So just need to move that out of the way. Just check if we've got anybody else on. We've got Paul and we've got Julie. Welcome. And we've got Tony. Okay, so we've got a few on. So the main thing to talk about today is the fact that we've now got a new version of all of the trading assistants. I've downloaded the latest version, and this is my first time of testing because I didn't get much. Well, I didn't get any training done this morning because I was still looking at this. So for the benefit of anyone who's new, we've got a white vertical line here which is marking 1 p.m. UK time. It says 1500, and that's because my broker is 2 hours ahead. And basically over here where it says 1300, which is the trading assistant time, it converts it to 1500 on the chart, and that's just down to the fact that my broker is 2 hours ahead of me. So basically what we used to do was start off on the 15-minute chart and wait for the 15-minute candle, the 1 o'clock 15-minute candle to close, and then we'd look at the top of the candle and look left for the nearest higher candle, and then we'd look at the bottom of the 1 o'clock candle and look left and look for the nearest lower candle. Now, Oliver's programmed in so that if you're working as I am at the minute, I'm taking trades on the 2-minute chart, it automatically changes it. So if you were wanting to check your trend lines, you could go to the 15-minute chart, and when it draws the trend lines, you could check to make sure that it has drawn them accurately. Helen had a problem the other day. Has your problem been sorted, Helen, with your trend lines?
Hi, Rich. My Zoom's been very slow. I was struggling to unmute. If I'm honest, I don't know because I've had nothing to compare it to. So I'm actually just in the process of loading the new version at the moment. So I was just going to do that, and hopefully it'll draw some lines and we can see where it compares to yours.
Okay, so we'll focus on that when we get to the 115.
Thank you.
We'll have a look at that for you. I'm just looking at this news here, which is it's telling me that there's news in 1 hour 54 minutes. I happen to know, because I checked Forex Factory, I happen to know that there is some, Forex Factory regard it as red flag news at 1:30. Let me just, if I stop sharing this screen and go to Forex Factory, see if I can do this without losing anybody. For Forex Factory, if I go back to Zoom and share, hopefully you'll be able to see my Forex Factory screen. And there's definitely, according to Forex Factory, some high impact US dollar news at 1:30. I'm just wondering if by changing my news settings from high impact to medium impact, if that will make any difference. So I'm just going to do that whilst I'm on this session, and just to see if it works. So I'm stop sharing that. Go here and share screen. Going back to my MT5. So I'm on Euro US 2-minute. I'm just going to right click on the chart. I'm going to click on expert list, and I'm going to properties. And if I go down to where the news settings are, that's in the way. Let's just see if I can, there we go. If I go to the news settings and change mine to, so calendar importance, I'm asking my settings, I'm asking, there we go, news settings. I'm asking my trading assistant to show the calendar. I'm asking it to stop trading from 5 minutes before the news to 5 minutes after the news, but only on high impact news. Now, if I double click on that, I get a drop down menu, and I'm able to change that to moderate. And I just want to see if this works. So come out of that and come out of that. And I've now got these orange lines, and it's telling me that 1:30 news. So I'm going to keep that on the moderate setting, because that on Forex Factory was regarded as high impact news. And I've always used Forex Factory in my FX book as my source of news. So I'm going to keep that. So basically what that means is that 5 minutes before 1:30 to 5 minutes after 1:30, my trading assistant will not take any trades. And I'm happy with that, because I don't want to be in any trades when that news hits in 20 minutes time. So I'm for the time being, I would rather have a new setting that reflected that high impact news on as a red line. But if I can't have that, I'll stick with this moderate news setting. The other way that you could deal with that situation, if you know that there is some high impact news coming along at 1:30 and you don't have it indicated on your screen, you can always disable the algo trading from 5 minutes, sort of from 1:15 to, from 25 minutes past 1 to 35 minutes past 1. You can manually disconnect the algo trading by clicking on that. It changes it to red, and it won't take any trades until you go back onto the green. But we're all set. We're not going to, when we get to the green trend line, when we get to the green vertical line, we'll get some trend lines drawn, and we'll be able to trade for about 10 minutes, and then it'll stop won't get into any trades for a further 10 minutes, and then we'll be good to go. On this one, we've now got some medium impact news that says 1600 down at the bottom. That's 1400 UK time. I don't know if that was, I don't think that was any red flag news on Forex Factory. So I can change that if I want to, but if you want to be on the safe side, and you don't want to be in a trade when news occurs, just leave it as it is. Now I've got this information here. I'm over on the left-hand side of the screen. This is just in case anybody's jumped on since I've mentioned this before. This is another feature that Oliver's built into the Crossfire Trading Assistant, and we can talk about that when we've got the trend lines on, and I'll explain what is. I haven't tested it yet, but I'll explain what its purpose is. Just going to check and see if anybody else has jumped on. No, we've still got the same group of people. Okay. So what we've got is, as I say, I'm on the latest version. So if anybody's got any questions about either the latest version itself or about loading it up, if you have any difficulties, by all means, shout out or put it in the chat. I'll do my best to answer any questions. When I loaded mine this morning, it was pretty straightforward. One thing that I did notice was if I went to my indicator list, I've actually got more indicators. And this is not intended to happen. So Oliver's looking at this. So what I've got is I've got two lots of everything. I've got two water atters, so I just need to go through and delete one of those. I need to delete this. Can you see we've got a smooth HA and 3 MAs, and then we've got another smooth and 3. So I just need to delete the bottom set.
Can you just go through what the settings are on them, Richard, please?
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah. I'll just delete these, and then there we go. So the reason that I do that is that where you've got duplicate indicators in this panel here, you're only seeing one of each indicator, but your computer is actually calculating twice, and it will slow down. Just slow down everything. And if you leave it, if you never come here and tidy it up, you'll get 2, 3, 4, 5 lots of duplicates, and it's a good idea just to quickly go through each time you start trading. So I noticed somebody put something in the chat. Do we delete the old ones and then install the new ones? Yes, yes, Paul. That's a good idea. That's something that I'm going to go to view, I'm going to go to navigator, and you'll see that I've still got the previous version here. What I would recommend is that once you've got the new version on, you should just delete that one. So if I right click on that and then delete, and that will get rid of the previous version. If for any reason you needed to go back to version 1, you've still got it in your downloads folder. So it hasn't disappeared completely. It's just disappeared from your NT5. Something else in chat. Yeah, okay. So I believe in just keeping things nice and simple, nice and tidy, and not to have too many versions, well, not to have duplicate versions of anything. There we are, we've now got some trend lines. So we'll look at the trend lines issues. Whilst I'm on this, I always, before I start any of these sessions, I always check that these 4 blue hats are still there. If any one of them had changed back to a grey hat, I would just put it back on again. So, but I won't do that now because it'll change my it'll change what I've got on my indicators. But check that you've got the blue hats on each of the pairs that you're looking at. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to get rid of the navigator. We'll focus on the trend lines, and if Helen's still got the same problem, it should actually have, the problem should have either been corrected by Oliver or self-corrected by the new version, but hopefully we'll find that. So where we're looking here at this 15-minute period, if you look at the lowest point that price was during that 15-minute period, it was the bottom of that wick. And what it did was what the trading system has done is look for the nearest lower candle. Now, because I'm on the 2-minute, it looks slightly odd, but if you change your time frame to 15 minutes and to do this, you would look left and you will find that that would be the nearest 15-minute candle. And so that's why the trend line has gone down there and not across to there. Maybe I can look at the 15-minute chart and just to satisfy myself. I'm also going to look at the highest point. Now that looks slightly out there. Maybe there was a wick at the top of that candle which caused it to go to that point there, and then it looked left, and it doesn't seem to have got. So let's go to the 15-minute, and then we can satisfy ourselves. So right click on the chart, go to time frames, go to 15 minutes. And see if I can get this a little bit clearer. Now I just need to put the magnifying tool on there if I can get to it. That's the skull. I need to move that out of the way. I'm putting the magnifying tool. There we are. That's a little bit better. So this is the white. That's the 1 o'clock, and that's the 1:15. So there's just one candle involved, and it's that one there. And looking left for the nearest higher one, that's there. So that's correct. Looking left from the bottom, there's the bottom of the candle. Now it's taking it further down, but it's definitely gone to the nearest lower one. So that's the nearest lower one, and maybe the line should be slightly higher than that, but it will work. Now, because I've changed the chart, I've got some other changes. I've got Well, actually, I can see I've got two versions of the WAE, because that's supposed to be a white line, but it's a pale blue line. But that means that's telling me that there's three. Okay, so we'll go back to the 2-minute chart. I'm reasonably happy with that. It's not perfect, but it's as near as needs to be. So if I go back to time frames, minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm back to where I was. Let me just right click and look at the indicators, because I've changed the chart, so you can see how we've gone back to, well, we've actually got 3 versions of everything now. That's something that Oliver's working on, and that shouldn't continue for much longer. So what I need is one smooth 3 MAs. I need to get rid of all of the others. And I certainly don't need 3 water atters. That's a bit of a pain, but it's something that Oliver's dealing with. And then I can always double check what the values are on each of those. Okay, so we've got one smooth, we've got 3 MAs. So the smooth should be a 13. There we go. And the 3 MAs should be, one should be a 13. It's 13, and it's actually the solid gold. And these bottom 2 should be 200. Now, the reason I've got 200 is I'm only looking for the crossover of the 13 and the 200 moving average. So I've made 2 moving averages 200. I could, in theory, I could get rid of one of those, but I might want to go back to, we used to use a 13 moving average, a 62 moving average, and a 200. And it might be that I want to go back to that at some point. So I'm going to keep that. And then the water atta colours, white. There we go. That's correct. So the explosion line, which was sort of pale blue, was because there was more than one version on there, and I've now got a nice clean chart. So I'll just quickly look at the 4 charts, and I'll look at the settings with you. We are prices currently below the red trend line. So I'm looking at only looking for cells. Actually, no, the trading assistant has prioritized the green one. So I'm currently looking at being above the green trend line, therefore I'm looking for buys. So the trading assistant is only looking for buys. Now, I'll come back to this in a minute, but this scenario where price is after the crossover, where price is between the 2 trend lines, this bit of information here is going to help. If we need to test it first, but so I'm above the green trend line, so I'm looking for a buy. The second thing that the trading assistant looks for is a wave change. So if I'm looking for a buy, I want a green wave. We're currently in a red wave, so my trading assistant is not going to pursue that any further. If and when we do get a green wave, a change of wave from red to green, the third thing my trading assistant looks for is a moving average crossover. So it'll be looking for that yellow line, or it's actually a gold line, to cross over the white line. So that's a 13 moving average crossing over the 200 moving average. So that'll be 3 indications that I should be looking for a buy. And the 4th and final one is water atta, where at the minute the water atta signal is saying no trade. to confirm that I should get in for a buy, and at that point my trading assistant will get in for a buy, this will change to long. And if all those four things are pointing in the direction of a buy, then the trading assistant will instantly get me in for a buy. At the minute, we've got another complication, and that is that the time is now 13:25, and I've asked my trading assistant not to get me into a trade from 5 minutes before to 5 minutes after that orange line, which is the 130 news. It's US dollar news. It's showing us 6 minutes here. That's because we're partway through one of the minutes. But either way, I don't want to be in a trade when that news hits, so I'm quite happy to be out of a trade. It's just changed there. Look, it's now telling me I'm not going to get in for a trade because of the news. So it's an opportunity to go to, well, finish off the water atta. What I'm looking for a buy is this scenario where you've got the explosion line pointing away from that line represents the dead zone. So we need it above the dead zone and pointing away from the dead zone. And then we need the histogram bars to be above the explosion line. And that would have been a good time to get in. And as you can see, that was a good time to get in because price went upwards. At the minute, the explosion line is starting to move away from the dead zone line. It's pointing away from the dead zone. And on this occasion, it's a red histogram above the explosion line. So that's more, that is indicating a sell situation. It's not a perfect sell. We haven't got we would expect a short signal, the word short there, if it was going to get me in for a sell. But it's not getting me in for anything right now because we've got news. So I'm just going to quickly look at the other four pairs.
Richard, can I have a quick question?
Yeah, of course you can.
On that last pair, so if you make it bigger, so for a sell, are your wave, your 13,200 cross for a sell?
Yeah.
Would that be too far back in
Yeah, but
candles to even consider it on your current settings?
Yeah, I'm only interested in a recent wave change and a recent MA crossover. So how many candles you want to call recent is down to you, but this wave change occurred at 1 o'clock. Well, at 1 minute past 1, it went from green to red. So that is the most recent wave change. And if I was looking for a sell, so we were in a buy trend. We're now in a sell trend. If I was looking for a sell, I would say that qualifies. It's at the edge. It's at the far edge of my tolerance, if you like. But I would consider that getting into a selling trend. But if I'm using the 2MA crossover as the third filter, I haven't got an MA crossover. It went up towards the 200, but it didn't cross over. I would want it to.
Yeah, you would definitely want that the yellow to cross the 13 to cross the.
Yeah, I would want it to have gone above the 200.
It's close, but yeah.
Below. So I wouldn't count this as a valid sell signal because I'm really looking for a buy signal in that I'm looking for I'm looking for a wave change from red to green, and then I'm going to look for the 13 moving average to cross over the 200. That is what I would call a textbook crossfire trade. Once that goes up above, once the yellow line goes up above the the white line. Now, this is the news. You can see that prices it went down and it's gone back up again, and that's a typical price manipulation where they push price down and then they push price up again. And really, if I'd been in there for a sell, the fact that the price shot up there, it would have taken my stop loss out. And if I was in for a buy, it's shot down there and it would have taken my stop loss out. So I don't want to be in a trade at that time. Alistair, did you solve your trading view issue?
Nope. I've sent them the picture and waiting to hear back. It's
Okay.
really annoying.
I was looking at it, and I'm gonna try and share my trading view screen. So bear with me.
They tell you to clear your cache and done all that. So yeah.
I'm probably preaching to the converted here, but I'm going to show you what I found. If I go to trading view and then need to share it before going further.
Hello, Malcolm. How are you?
So I need to share.
I'm all right, Alistair, thank you. And Richard, it's a long time I've been involved with some other things and family and stuff, but
Okay, well, welcome back. So I'm trying to share my trading view. It should be on your screen now.
Yep.
Because I haven't been on this, I probably need to refresh it, so I'll do that before I go any further.
Remind us what the problem was, Alistair? Sorry, I can't remember.
So you go into your little calendar chat down there.
Oh yes, you couldn't get back all the way, could you? I remember.
Pick a date back in time.
Yeah.
And nothing happens. And then you scroll left, and in the middle of all the candles, it says last bar available, or whatever. Press your mouse one click, it vanishes. And you go press it again, it goes to your time. And it just repeats. And it's really annoying. You're trying to test anything. It's just
Not sure I can get mine. I've tried duplicating it. I remember now. You wouldn't do it.
yeah. Actually, it only happens on my PC, which is what I use most. It doesn't happen on my Mac. I discovered that today. I never thought to look at the Mac. I don't use it as much for charts because it doesn't have the the MT5 and stuff on
it. Just lost Richard.
See, that's the trading view glitch he's got now, and it's just blowing him off the planet. That's how bad it is.
If I try to go back a long way, far too far for the 1 minute time frame, it takes me back as far as it can and just says last bar available.
Yeah, but I get that in the middle of the chart, which has still got candles to its left. So it's in the middle of the screen. Last bar. It's not the last bar because there's a whole chart to the left. It just freezes on it, and you just click your mouse and it vanishes, and it's been doing it for days.
How bizarre.
Hmm.
So on the 1 minute, mine's taking me back to the 10th of November.
Yeah, if you do it on the 2 hour or the 4 hour or the day,
it's just got maximum candles, hasn't it? Oh, okay.
You haven't got a glitch.
You
haven't got a glitch, have you, Richard?
I think I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah, that's my internet just
Don't blame me.
freezing. No, that's my internet.
It might be icicles. Had snow here this morning.
Yeah,
Incredible. We never get snow. Unbelievable.
we had a little bit of snow overnight, not a lot. Okay, so I was just going to show you what I found. It probably isn't this, but what I found was, are you looking at my trading view chart now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so I need to go back and share that. Okay. let me just start again. Yeah, there are internet issues in the area where I live. I think because of the cold weather. So working really slowly. Right, okay. So I think you're now looking at my
Yep.
what I found, and say I don't want to sound patronising, but what I found was if I wanted to, if I'm on November 2024 and I want to go back to yesterday, it does that fine. But if for any reason, let's say my calendar wasn't on, let's say it was on February 2023, and I've selected a date there, it gives me what you were finding last available bar. So I was just wondering if you're.
No, I don't. The problem is, the last available bar comes up left of what I'm viewing, just about like two scrolly moves with your mouse on the table, and it appears, but it's in the middle of the chart. So there's still bars. That last bar logo has still got candles to its left. So it's not the last bar.
Right.
It's just frozen in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
What happens if can you see that little crown shape there, Alistair? What happens if you click on that?
that's what happened. I've just clicked on the crown.
Yeah, telling you that if you want to look
It's
more bars,
an upgrade thing.
yeah, if you want to look more bars left, you have to upgrade. Yeah.
I don't get that, to be honest, because of what
Oh,
I've got.
Okay. Okay. It was just a thought.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what that pictures I've put up on the messenger. It's just stuck in the middle. Anyway, no worries. Crack on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I just need to get back to where I was.
When I hear, I'll let you know. If I get a reason for it, I'll tell people, so if they get the same thing, then at least to know.
So Zoom.
So TradingView are usually quite good at responding to queries.
Yeah, just haven't fixed it.
Right. Okay. So let me just.
I was going to say, if you right click and reset chart, Richard, it takes you back. I was just trying to figure that out.
Okay. Okay. So I think we're now back on my MT5, and I was going to look through my settings. There's did you notice that Paul has put all the latest trading assistance into Discord? And I went to Discord and had a look, and he's even put my settings in there as well. This is interesting. Prices going up. Before we go to my my settings, Euro US. I'll just move you guys out of the way. Right, we've now got so the news occurred. I'm on the 2-minute chart. So the news occurred, and I'm now 9 minutes after the news. So I'm safe to trade. It's my trading assistant is currently looking for a buy. It's in the trade zone, and so we are above the green trend line. We have a change of wave. So it's changed, the wave changed from being red going down to green going up. So that's number 2 of my filters. The third filter is the MA crossover. So the gold line has crossed over the white line. So I'm now looking positive for a buy. The only thing that's not happening is we haven't yet got a long, it's saying no trade. I assume that when this current candle, hang on a minute, there we go. it's got me in for a buy automatically. I just noticed something else, that for some reason my countdown timer hasn't changed since I changed back to 2 minutes, but not to worry. It actually hasn't got me in for a trade. Bear with me 1 second. Maybe it was a different pair.
I haven't gone into a trade. I mean, I'm in the 1 minute. Sorry, forget that.
It was this one, GBP USD. I thought it was on the pair that I was looking at, so I'll move that out of the way. So similar situation, the green trend line is there. So price is above the green trend line, so I'm looking for a buy. We had a change of way from downwards red Heiken-Ashes to upwards green Heiken-Ashes. So that's 2 filters, 2 criteria satisfied. The third one was the moving average crossover. The 13 crossed over the 200. Therefore, it starts to look for a long signal on the water atta, and you can see the explosion line is pointing away from the dead zone, and the histogram is dark green and above the explosion line. Now it's just taken me out, and that was because price came backwards, turned against me. Now, one of the things that you can experiment with is that gap there was 4 pips, because my stop loss was set at 4 pips. But let's just watch this. Right, okay, so we've got a Euro CAD trade placed now, so we'll look at that one. I'll finish my point on this one. Can you see how price just went down and then took me out? And it hasn't, well, it's now going a little bit further. If this price reverses and starts to go up again, what I need to consider is, was my stop loss too tight? It's something that we need to sort out. We'll just watch that for a second. Okay, so I'll go to the other pair and I'll come back to this one. What I'm trying to establish is, was my stop loss too tight? If it was maybe 6 pips, would it have stayed in? So we'll come back at that one and just so we'll need to look at Euro CAD.
It's just filled in that imbalance, isn't it? Well, most of it anyway. It's just whipped into it.
Okay, so something similar is happening here. And it's just taken me out. Right, okay, so those two, I didn't change my new settings on this pair, did I? I only changed it on one pair. So there's a lesson to be learned. You need to change, if you're going to change any of your settings, you need to change it on each of the 4 charts. Otherwise,
Actually, can I just ask you something on that? You know, at the minute I'm using the 3 minute time frame rather than the 2.
Yeah.
So it's doing it. Is that going to affect? Is that going to affect it as well? Because it's not got me into those trades.
Yes. Yeah. You're because I'm on the 2 minute time frame. It got me in. Maybe it got me in too early. And you could say that you being on the 3 minute chart kept you out of a dodgy trade. And that's why you've got to experiment with different time frames, because if you're on the 1 minute, it's very volatile. If you're on the 2 minute, it's slightly less volatile, and on the 3 minute, it's even less volatile, or even less volatile. Because you can see that what's happening here is price is going up nicely, and then it's come back down. And depending on what happens now, if it goes up, then we've got to consider that stop loss. Was that stop loss too tight? Was the distance between your entry point and the stop loss, was it too tight? And if it is, then you need to step up your stop loss. We'll come back to that, and I'll start looking through my settings now because I'm not in any trades. But one thing I do need to do, if I just right click and go onto my expert list and go into properties, what I should have done was change my new settings on each of the 4 pairs. So that's the first lesson I've learned this afternoon. I still want it to keep me out 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after, but I want it to take account of moderate news as well as. So that if I'd done that before, it would have kept me out of a trade until 5 minutes after 1:30. Let me just show something else. If I go to time frames, where are we? Time frames. We go to time frames. I'm currently on a 2-minute time frame. If Gary is on a 3-minute time frame, then he's done that by going down to minutes. Whereas I've got 2 minutes ticked, Gary's got 3 minutes. And I'm just trying to see why it kept you out. It kept you out because the wave change didn't occur. That's one reason why it kept you out. The second reason it kept you out was because the moving average hasn't crossed over yet. And potentially the third reason was the order atta didn't look as certain as it did on the 2 minutes. So if you compare the 3-minute time frame with the 2-minute time frame, the 3-minute is going to keep you out. And it's done so. Not sure. Let me just check that one. I take that off. There may just have been a red smooth Heikin-Ashi candle on that point there, but that was on exactly on 1:30. That was when the news occurred, and so there was a slight dip. But your trading assistant might have countered that, but it wouldn't have got you into a trade because it's got to wait 5 minutes after the news. So effectively, you're still in an upward change. You've been in the upward movement since 1439, 1442, so it's 3 minutes. So that would be, in real time, that would be 12. That would be 12:42. So you've been in an upward movement. What you really need for an ideal, for a textbook crossfire trade is you need that wave to change back to red at some point and then go back to green, and then for the 13 moving average to cross over the 200, then you've got 3 of your filters satisfied, and then you need to come down and look at the order atta. But don't forget, your trading assistant does that automatically. So it kept you out because of your the main reason it kept you out because you're on a 3-minute chart. Now so I would say that you were better off on a 3-minute chart than I was on a 2-minute chart, because I got into a trade and I lost it. So I'm going to go back to 2-minute. So there's one example of experimenting with timeframes, and so I'm on 3 minutes. I'm going back to 2 minutes, and if I put the candles on, so really the question I've got to ask myself is, do I change to a 3-minute chart and not get into a trade and then be taken out? Or do I stay with the 2-minute chart and consider my stop loss? let me just do, I'm just going to try something here. I put a line, where was I got in round about there. So I'm looking at that candle, I'm sort of halfway up that candle, got in round about there, and it took me out. Took me out at the bottom of that wick there. And if I look at the numbers on my right-hand panel, it's 4708, I'll call that, and that's 4704. So that, if I'd made my, well, my stop loss was just 4 pips, and it's just taken me out. If I'd had my stop loss 1 pip lower down, so 4077, 407, 4027 there. But if I had a 5 pip stop loss instead of a 4 pip stop loss, that would have kept me in that trade. And then prices, it's come down, but it wouldn't have taken me out because it needed to get beyond that point. And now it's trying to get back up again. So if I'd had a 5 pip stop loss instead of a 4 pip stop loss, I would still be in that trade. And if I'd been working on the 3-minute chart, it wouldn't have got me into that trade.
Richard,
yeah,
I know it's been a long time and stuff, but you know, we used to talk about 10 pips stop loss.
yeah, we did, and
seems to have come right the way down now.
yeah, and that, I mean, basically we're still in testing mode, and we found that a low number of pips on some of the pairs, we could get a risk to reward of 1 to 2 a lot easier if we kept our stop
loss much smaller, yeah.
But this, as I say, we're still in testing mode, and it may be that we have to reconsider. And you see that this is now, that would just about have taken me out even on a 5 pip stop loss. So maybe we need to consider, but this is why we're still in testing mode. We need to find out what works and what doesn't work, and everybody is different, and it may be that you want to increase your stop loss and be safe, or it may be that you want to use a different time frame. But you know, we consider dropping it down to 5 pips. Maybe we should consider dropping it down to 6. Maybe a balance would be, instead of 4, it would go to 6. But these are some of the things we've got to consider. So let me just change that. That's 47077. If I make that, well, that is 6 pips. So I would still be in if I'd been on the 2-minute time frame. I would still be just about in that trade at 6 pip stop loss. However, there's a disadvantage to increasing your stop loss, because what it means is if you're going for 1 to 2, which I would recommend always going for 1 to 2, you're then increasing your target from, currently my target on this pair is 8 pips, but I've now just increased my target to 12 because I'm on 6. I'm on a stop loss of 6, so I need to be on a take profit of 12. So we need to watch this and see if it goes up to 12 and consider that. So I'm not saying that my settings are right. I'm not saying
No.
they're perfect, but let's go through them, and I'll try and explain why they are what they are. But you can change your settings. I'll go to Euro USD. All all these four pairs are identical apart from the stop loss. So if you're on the latest version of Crossfire, which is brackets 2.05, you will have you need to put in an email. Otherwise, the trading assistant won't work. But the basis of the let me just try and bring that down. So just focus on those few items at the top. What's happened there? Yeah, okay. But I was wondering if that had just got me into a trade, but it's a different sound for the trade. So let's just look at these few settings first. So assuming you've got your email in and it's accepted your email, I'm looking at what I'm telling the trading assistant to use a risk percentage for lot calculation. So I'm asking it to use a risk percentage of 0.5. So I've got, I'm on a demo account with FTMO. I've got $100,000 account. So I'm risking 0.5. So I'm risking $500. And I want a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 2. So I want to risk 0.5%, $500, and I want to potentially make $1,000. So I'm risking, my risk to reward is 1 risk to 2 reward. The entry loss is 1, that doesn't change, but I want it to use a stop loss of 3 pips. Therefore, at the risk to reward of 1 to 2, it will automatically put my take profit at 6 pips. So even if I got this number wrong, the risk to reward overrides. So it will always take the 3 pip stop loss and double that because I'm looking for 1 to 2 risk to reward. So I can make a mistake on that number and it will still go to twice the risk. These 3 items here. I'll just move that out of the way. So these 3 items here are only relevant if you're doing a prop firm trading challenge. So if you want your trading assistant to generate a magic number, a random magic number, you can toggle that from false to true and back again to false. I'm just on a demo account, so it really doesn't matter, but I've put my own magic number in there, which happens to be 13579, and I put a title on it, a comment on it saying this is my afternoon crossfire. But those only apply if you're in a prop firm challenge. The 36, which is the move the chart to the left, that just moves the current candle away from this wording here. If you left it, I think when it comes out of the box, it's on 18. I've changed it to double that, so it keeps it away, keeps the candles away from all of this wording here. It just makes it easy to read. The spread filter protection, I'm a big believer in this. You can click that to false and it won't apply this, but if you've got it on true, my trading assistant only takes trades when the broker spread is 2 pips or less. So at the minute you can see that it's saying 18, that's actually 1.8 pips. Those are points, not pips. So this pair is still within my acceptable range. if it goes to more than 2 pips, so if this changes to 21 or more, then my trading assistant simply will not take a trade, because it's a personal thing, but I don't want to be in a trade where the broker is taking a spread out of my profits of more than 2 pips. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make the trade worthwhile. But if you've got a different view, you can increase that to 3 or 4 or whatever, or you can turn it off. But I've got mine set to 2 pips, and that is good enough for these 4 pairs in the afternoon. The expert protections, this is particularly useful if you trade in crossfire, because remember, in the afternoon session we trade 4 pairs. So if on one pair you're risking 0.5%, so there's my 0.5% risk. If you're trading 4 pairs at the same time, then your risk increases to 2%. Now, as it happens for this afternoon session, I turned this daily loss protection off, because when I was installing everything this morning, I went above my 2% for the day. So it wouldn't let me trade for this live unless I turn that off. But I would recommend you have your daily loss protection true, and that you have a 2% maximum. And that will mean that if all 4 pairs go against you and you lose 0.5% on each of the 4 pairs, you're going to lose a maximum of 2%, and your trading assistant will not let you trade. It simply will not trade until tomorrow. So I've had to turn this to false, otherwise it wouldn't let me trade on this live session. But I highly recommend you use this. You put it on true, and you make a maximum loss of 2% across the 4 pairs. You can your percentage profit, if you're working on a 1 to 2 reward, risk to reward of 1 to 2, that would automatically work out at 4%. But I've left it at 6% just to give it some wriggle room. If all 4 pairs won and they went slightly more than, if you take profit, took it to more than 1%, then you wouldn't want to lose out on a few extra pips. So 6% gives it some wriggle room. I've had to turn off this. I would normally have this global basket. What that is you need those all on true, so that it considers the 4 pairs, and if these 4 pairs have all got the same magic number, just going back to that magic number, there's my magic number. These 4 pairs that we're looking at this afternoon have all got the same magic number, but they've got a different magic number to my morning pairs. So it calculates these 4 pairs only, and it lumps them together in one basket, and it keeps me safe. It means that I only lose 2% in a day on these 4 pairs. But I'm changing them back to false, because otherwise, that's simply because my pairs this morning, when I was installing this, I was just letting it go, and all 4 pairs, well, there was $2,000 worth of losses, which is why my lot size has gone down from 100,000. So I hope I've explained that properly. Partial close settings I'm going to ignore, because I don't use those at the minute. New settings, I'm currently on moderate. I'm currently on 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. You can change that if you wish. I'm happy with this particular setting as it stands. So it's showing the calendar. If I turn that off to false, click OK, and come out of that, those lines should disappear. No. what did I do wrong? Your calendar, it's come back to true. Anyway, I would recommend you have the calendar showing. I would recommend that you stop trading for a certain period before and after. I've chosen 5 minutes and I've chosen moderate. These are the crossfire properties, and it may be slightly different to the ones you've got. 900 is the number of minutes to look back, and 900 will take you back to 10 p.m. UK time, 10 p.m. last night, which is the start of today's Asian session. So basically when it's drawing the trend lines, it looks for a higher, the nearest higher candle to the left and the nearest lower candle to the right. And it will only look back as far as the start of today's Asian session, and that is 10 p.m. last night. So that seems to work. I've never changed this. This is still on 15 minutes to look forward. I don't know what that means. I'll ask Oliver to clarify it for me, and I've just left it as it is. I don't know what it is.
Can I ask a quick question, Richard?
Yeah, sure.
Please. 900, does that count minutes or does it count candles? So if you're on a 2-minute time frame, is that halved, for example?
I'm assuming that it is the number.
Because we've always been on the 1 minute, and so it's gone back. Am I confusing that?
Well, the wording is minutes to look back.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it looks back 900 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
900 candles. If it goes back 900 2-minute candles, then it'll go back into, yes, the previous day, which we don't want it to do. So I'm assuming that the wording is minutes, so it's looking back 900 minutes. In the same way that the minutes for trading, it looks forward 180 minutes. And we can actually check that, because we can check the trend lines and see where they stop. So we'll do that in a few seconds. But I've got my trading assistant set to work from. I wanted to start looking at 1300 hours UK time, and I wanted to continue looking until 180 minutes after that. So that goes on till 4 p.m. UK time. The width, that's just the width of the lines. You can increase it or decrease it. Trading time, as I say, trading time starts at 1300 and goes on for as many minutes as you put in there. I don't want it to trade on a Sunday, but I want it to trade every other day. European summertime, if you're in the States, you need to change that to, if I just click on that drop down, and you can use USA summertime. So that there are only 2 potential settings, and let's say in the UK you need the European summertime. Now the Heikin-Ashi settings, that's the smooth Heikin-Ashi. So you've got the bright green Heikin-Ashi and the bright red Heikin-Ashi. Depending on your setting, and mine is set to 13, is the smoothing period. So I find that 13 works for me, and I've stuck on 13. If you remember, on when we traded Crossfire and we used the straightforward settings, that was based on 13. So these are all as they come out of the box. Originally I changed these to this 4 to 20, and I changed that 10 to 20, and I've double checked, and it doesn't really seem to make any difference. So I've reverted to this. These are the numbers that come out of the box. You can try them on 20. It doesn't seem to make any difference. So I've just got into a trade on GBP CAD. So I'll close that. I probably need to close that one first. There we go. I'll come back to those settings. I'm going to go.
I've just had that on the 1 minute, exactly the same time.
Okay, so there we are. This is the trade that we're looking at, Euro CAD. So I've used this opportunity to explain what's going on. We're below the red trend line, so we're looking for sells. Prior to getting in, it would have said looking for sell signals. It's now changed to already traded. That's the point at which it got me in. It's marked off my trend line, my stop loss. If you hover over it, the stop loss is four pips or 40 points. My take profit is down here. And if I hover over it, it should change to, there we go, 80 points or 8 pips. Now you can modify those by dragging them in either direction. I want to show you something now. If I click on trade history, did you see that arrow disappeared? So you can get those arrows on. So there's a red arrow indicating where it got me in, and when it takes me out, there'll be a blue arrow. But if you have that toggled in the wrong place, it'll disappear. I'm putting them back on again. And the same with these red lines. The lines that I've just shown you. Click on trade levels, they disappear as well. So if you want it to show you the entry line and this take profit line and this stop loss line, you need to make sure that that's on. But of course, you can change this. You can move your stop loss up and down simply by dragging. I'm going to try dragging on that one there. See, it's moved up. Try and put it back to where it was. If I move it up, hang on a sec. If I move it up and I hover over it, it tells me how far I've moved it. So I've now moved it to 6.5 pips, 6.4 pips. I'm going to put it back to 4 pips if I can. And it's just taken me out. So there's a blue arrow, and that's the point at which it took me out. So 4 pips wasn't enough working on the 2-minute time frame. Now those lines won't come back on again because we're out of the trade. So whatever I do there, it's not going to work. But I can remove those trade history. I can take those if I want to. Trade history. There we go. So that was my entry point. That was where it took me out. So it's looking as if, what do I need to say? Somebody was asking me about the stop loss, and somebody was also asking about, there seems to be a difference in the market at the minute. Whereas we were getting away with 3 pip stop loss on Euro US and 4 pip stop loss on the others, we seem to be getting taken out. And if you think about it, there's been a number of events over the last few weeks which may have affected the markets. We had the UK budget, which has affected the markets a lot, not just in the UK but elsewhere. We had the same week we had the non-farm payroll, which unsettles the market. We've currently got then we had the US election, and that's currently upsetting the market. And in the background, we've got a war in Ukraine with somebody threatening nuclear activity. You've got oil uncertainty in Iran because there's troubles going on in Iran, Israel. So that is all affecting the market, and people are behaving differently. The markets are behaving differently, and you've got to change with the market. If we're finding that the tight stop losses are too tight, then we need to be prepared to change. That was just a little bit in response to a question I was asked about. Have things, do things seems to have changed in the last? Well, yeah, they have changed. We're not in a good position financially. We're dealing with relatively small amounts of money. Some of the big banks are dealing with billions of dollars, and they're moving money around, and we can only follow in their coattails. Let me just analyze why the trading assistant got me into this trade. So I'm looking at the red trend line. I'm below the red trend line, therefore I'm looking for sells only. I've had a recent wave change. The wave was green upward, it's now red downwards. We've also had a moving average crossover. The 13 moving average crossed over the 200 moving average, and at the point that I got in, or the trading assistant got me in, which was on that candle there, the water atta would have been saying short. It's now saying no trade. It would have been saying short, and that's because the explosion line, which is the white line, is not only above the dead zone line, that orange, but it's also pointing away from the dead zone, and the dark red histogram bars were above the explosion line, and of course they were increasing in size. So the trading assistant got me in exactly as I've instructed it to get me in. There's nothing wrong with the trading assistant. What is wrong is my instructions. What I need to do is to think about my stop loss. Well, personally, I'm thinking about my stop loss, because if my stop loss has been above that wick there, I would still be in this trade. But my stop loss was there. So let's just go through that exercise again. If I place my stop loss there, I would still be in that trade. And you can go to Trading View and measure it precisely, or you can stay on this one and I'll stay on your MT5 and just measure it pretty accurately, not 100% accurately, but I'm looking at that was my entry 7642, and it would have kept me in if my stop loss had been 76495. So that's a 7.5 pip stop loss, and I would still be in that trade. However, the downside is that instead of an 8 pip take profit, I would need to be on a what did I say, 7. I need to be on 14 pips take profit. So what I would need is to stop the take profit. Let's just try it here, see what happens. So 7642 down to 7632, so that's a 10 pip. So it needs to be bigger than that. Uh, 764276. Yeah, that needs to be sort of in that area. So I'll leave that on. I'll see what happens. But if it eventually comes down here, I certainly need to consider my settings.
It's just got me into that trade, funnily enough, Richard, on the 3 minute.
And you're on the 3 minute. Okay, so let's have a look at that. This is useful to be able to compare the time frames. So if I go to minutes and I change to 3 minutes, so you're below the red trend line. So you're looking for a sell. You've got a change in wave occurred more recently than on my chart. My chart, remember, the wave change was over here somewhere. So the 3 minute has got me in later, and the moving average has occurred later than the 2 minute. And let's say I'm looking at the water art, it would have got you in. Would have got you in for a sell. I'm guessing on, is it beyond that candle there? Maybe.
I think it was 14.15 it got me in, I think.
Oh, so on that one there. There's somewhere after that. Let's call it that one. It's a 3 minute candle, and it's, yeah. We'll go for that one. This is what you need to do to get the right settings. Let's say it got you in at that point, which you can check 76456. You see, what we're finding this afternoon is that your 3 minute chart is working better than my 2 minute chart. Now,
I'm better than my 1 minute chart.
better than your 1 minute, right? Okay.
It got me into both the CAD pairs, but they both lost.
Right.
It's just took the, it's just made me the 1%, the 1%.
All right. Okay. Well, I think we can conclude then that your 3 minute setup is better than 2 minute or 1 minute. Let's just find out why. I'm looking for, well, on my settings, I would have a 4 pip stop loss. So I'll be looking at 7696 I'm looking for. I've got 7695, so that's near enough. So there's your stop loss. And your take profit would need to be 8 pips.
Yeah, I've set it, mine's set at 4 pips. I've got 4 pips across all 4 pairs, minimum stop loss on them.
Okay. 7656 down to 8. 4, 6, 3, 8. Yeah, that's more or less. It needs moving up a little bit, but you've obviously got a much safer trade than either a 1 minute or a 2 minute chart. So guess what? I'm going to change my my chart to a 3 minute chart, because both Helen and I have got in trades which didn't work out, and yet you on your 3
I was the same.
Say again, Alistair?
I lost as well on that pair.
Yeah. On that, I think we've just proved in this afternoon session the value of back testing and checking.
It's actually got me into a GBP USD sell as well, and that's getting there.
Okay.
It could be a different on another day, though, couldn't it, Richard? I mean, if it hadn't,
It could be, yeah.
Yes,
it could be.
That needs to be stressed, because what works today may not work tomorrow, and it's a question of probabilities, and just keeping your eye on things and making sure that you're using things that's working today. On the basis of those 2 trades that Gary's got into, and which well, it kept you out of the 2 trades that it got me into. It kept you out of the trades that Helen got into and Alistair got into. So you've got the right criteria for today. Let me just see. I think I've changed a lot of things on my chart, so I need to go back. So that, yeah. So you've quite easily got your 1% there, and if the other one works out for you, which one was it, Gary? The second one?
Going the other way at a minute. Backwards the other way now.
Which one is it? GBP US.
Yeah. Went back up a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still all right, yeah, but
yeah. You water after's sort of changing its mind. It was good to get in for a sell at that point, and then it's having a bit of a wobble. So you were. I am on the 2 minute, but we're below the red. We've had a recent wave change. We've also had an MA crossover, and up to that point, the water Atta was saying you're okay, but you've got in. You wouldn't have got in on that one, whereas I got in and lost. You stayed out of that, and you. If I was trading live and I'd got 1% on that trade that we've just looked at, I would get out of this at a profit, any profit. If I go to the 3 minute chart, and
it's about even at the minute. It's bouncing off the green trend line at the moment. It looks at it.
yeah. But I know we're testing, but you've got to think, what would you do if you were trading live and it was real money? Well, having won $1,000 on the previous pair, I would wait until this. Well, you know, in an ideal world, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I would have got out when it went down there. You wouldn't have got $1,000 on it, but you'd have had be better off than taking a loss. So I would personally, I would wait till it gets into profit. And what you can do, of course, as we've talked about before, is you can move your stop loss down to break even or thereabouts to guarantee you that if it does turn on you, you don't lose any money. That's
I can do that. I mean, I've changed mine to 0.25% loss to 0.5% profit on all with both the morning and afternoon,
right.
just to get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're doing the right thing. You're experimenting, and you'll find a sweet spot, and you know, you've got to disregard what everybody else says. You've got to go with what works for you. See, this is, if I'd just won $1,000 on that previous pair, I would ideally get out, even if I didn't make any money, as long as I didn't lose any money. Now the other thing, I need to. Did I finish off the settings? I don't know. I finished them off, did I? So I'll really quickly finish off the settings. So on this pair, which is, no, I'll go back to where I was. I was looking at Euro US. The only difference between Euro US and the other 3 afternoon pairs is the stop loss. I've got mine on 3 and the other 3 pairs are on 4, so you might want to change yours. But I'll go back to where we were.
Mine were on 5 today and it's still lost.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna look at this, how far the trend lines went. So can you see that the trend line finishes I mean, we don't have a time there, but it's looking like so that's 3 o'clock UK time. So that's going to be 4 o'clock, isn't it? So 1 to 3 is that distance there, and then half again. So that's finishing. That line is stopping after 180 minutes of trading. So it's assuming that we're going to be out. We're not going to be trading after that point. So that proves that the 180 minutes looking forward is correct. Expert list properties. No, I don't want that. I want to go back to Euro, because that's where I was. The partial close settings, I don't do anything with at the minute. I'm on moderate news. Right, high Kanashi settings. I've got mine set on 13. I didn't change anything there. I did previously change these to 20, but it didn't seem to make a lot of difference. The FVG settings, you not only need them to be on false, but you need to be, the values need to be 0. Otherwise, you'll get FVG appearing on your charts. And the point is, your trading system doesn't look at the FVG. Neither does it look at HMA. So you want HMA indicator to be on false. MA crossover. Now we've got 3 MAs. Potentially we've got 3 MAs to use. I only use 2 of them, so I use a 13, which is the gold one, and the other. So basically the 13 is my fast moving average. You've then got a medium moving average and a slow moving average, and I've got both of those set on white and 200. I'm only looking for a 1 crossover rather than 2 crossover. You can change that if you wish. Well, there's 2 things you can do. You can ask your trading assistant to ignore the MA crossover completely. So whereas I've got mine on true, 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 you can change those to false, and it will completely ignore the need for an MA crossover. Or you can keep them on true, and you can put 13, 62, and 200 if you like. But I've got mine set on 13 and 200. And then these are the Wada-Atta. I want to use the Wada-Atta filter. If you don't want to use it, you can change that to false. I find the Wada-Atta keeps me out of trades. So
nice to catch up with all of you. I've got to go, but I'll hopefully see you next week sometime.
Okay. Thank you, Malcolm. If you want to see that, you can watch the video. It'll be on YouTube shortly. It'll be in Discord, I should say, shortly.
Lovely, thank you.
So Wada-Atta.
Take care all. Thanks, Alistair and Helen. And
yes, thank you.
See you, Malcolm.
This Wada-Atta is this data here where we're looking at the Wada-Atta, and this changes from no trade to long or short, and that I find that handy. And this manual trade panel is that panel there, and this one is something I've got to have a look at. This is to do with let me just show that, and then I'll call it a day. If price got above the green trend line, and we wanted to get into a if we eventually we'll be able to use this automatically, but my thinking is, if price seems to be going, if we're above the green trend line and we've got a green wave, and we've got a 13 moving average crossing over the 200 moving average, and the Wada-Atta is telling me I should be getting in for a buy, I would look at the distance between the 2 trend lines, because my theory is that if price gets above the green trend line, it goes upwards. When it gets to that red trend line, it's going to find some resistance. And so it wouldn't be wise to get into a buy if the distance between those 2 trend lines was too narrow. So what Oliver's done is measured, he's got the trading assistant to measure the distance between the 2 trend lines and see if you've got enough room to profit. So if you're looking for, if you're on a 4 pip stop loss and you're looking for 8 pips to take profit, it's measuring, is there 8 pips? or more, or slightly more, ideally. And if there is room to profit, it will, if it works correctly. We've got to test it first. It will take a buy trade. So if that distance from there to there is more than I need, it will get me into a buy. And I think that's a really handy additional feature. So I'm going to go back to the 4 pairs, see what's going on. Now, because I've already had a trade on that pair, and I've already had a trade on that pair, and already had a trade on that pair, it's now only looking for a trade on that pair. And one way around that, if you saw an opportunity occurring, so let's say, yeah, on this one, let's say, because we're below the red trend line, and we've had a wave change, and we've got a recent MA crossover, and this is pointing away from, so we might think, well, with a little bit more effort, we might be into another potential sell trade. You might want to get into a sell trade. You can do that by clicking that sell button there, and that will override the trading assistant. It will tell the trading assistant that you want to get in for a sell. And the good thing is it keeps your settings. So if it gets you in for a sell, it'll use your stop loss setting, and you take profit setting that you've got in, that you would have if it was a trading assistant trade, but it just overrides the trading assistant and gets you in for a buy or a sell. But at the minute, I wouldn't get in for a sell because those are too wicky. I would want price to come down below those bottom wicks there. There seems to be some reason for resistance at that point. So I would consider getting in for a sell if price drops a little bit further, and I could get in for a manual trade by pressing that sell button there. I'm just gonna click on that sell button. I wouldn't do this if I was trading live. I'm just going to do it for demonstration purposes. We've traded, the price is getting down to where I might consider it, but the water atters telling me to keep out. But anyway, I'll press that button. And there you go. I've got in on a manual trade. There's my normal stop loss. There's my normal take profit. And I can adjust those if I wish. But I'm currently 1.1 pips down. But that's a really handy override button if you want to get in for a buy or a sell. So any last questions? I'm going to sit and watch this, but any last questions before I go?
That's all right, thanks.
Thank you. No.
So thanks for jumping on. Have a good weekend.
Sorry, Richard. Just one very quick thing.
Yeah, sure.
Might not work for everyone. I've been testing it while we've been on here, but every time you change a time frame, it's adding a whole new set of indicators for me.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
And,
okay. I didn't know if you knew that. That's fine. Okay.
It does. And I'm going to go to my indicator list because I've been messing around. And you see, I've got two. I've even got two water atters.
Yeah.
Oliver thought that he'd solved that issue this morning, but apparently he hasn't. So he's going to go back and take another look at it. Here, look, we've got the most positive trade so far, and it's a manual trade.
I left the GBP USD sell in, and it's just come in.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, I've got it set at 0.25%, but it's come in. It's just this minute come in. So
you've won that one. I was a little bit late getting in, but I'm up to 2.8 pips. What I can do, just to round up with, there's my stop loss. I occasionally will move, well, if I hover on it and it settles on it. So that's a 4 pip stop loss. If I want to move my stop loss to just below break even, if this price change, if it works against me, it'll take me out at that point, and I still haven't lost any money. I think that's a great feature. As it happens, it's taken me to my target. So I would have won on that as a manual trade. I would have won just under $1,000 on that trade. So that's a good point to end on. You can manipulate the trading assistant, or you can override the trading assistant by using this panel here. And I would have done that because I saw that price was getting past that resistance point. You can see that there's a level there, and it's there as well. So there's been a resistance, and once it got past that point, I would have got in, providing the water ATA was in my favour. Called stacking probabilities. So I'm going to call it a day. Have a good weekend. I will be back from my last week in the UK. I'll be in Thailand for a while after that. So you may need to send me. I will still do a session when I'm away, but it may not be live at 1 o'clock. It may have to be recorded. So I'm looking forward to getting any questions from you. So have a good weekend. We'll stop sharing.
Thanks, Richard.
Cheers, thanks, Richard. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.